From the mire of carnal desire. I am poor and needy. Come quickly to me, O God. You are my help and my deliverer. Lord, do not delay. Psalms 75. He always looked as if he were drunk. He was always stupefied by obscene thoughts which occupied his mind. The mouth speaks what the heart is full of. Luke 6:45. As the mouth of a drunk person smells like alcohol, his mouth always spit out sexual jokes and taunts. Yet he regularly attended the church. He liked reading books. As soon as he learned how to read, he began to read comic books. He also learned the pleasure of reading novels. It felt so good to be completely lost in reading. He read any book he could get his hands on. Unfortunately, there was no adult around him to guide the just over 10-year-old boy to wise and advisable reading. He found it fun to read a romance novel that he was not supposed to read yet. While reading the romantic part, he experienced masturbation for the first time. This was his first step into the miserable mire of desire. The carnal pleasure was so great that he began to indulge in it. He gave himself over to masturbating with lustful imaginations. The corrupt practice did not cease for decades. Even after marriage, the obscene habit continued. He would give in to the slightest temptations. Of course, he was always tired. His health began to deteriorate. Unhealthy thoughts distracted him and led him to frequent mistakes. Although he was desperate to escape from the habit, he could not. He could not concentrate even while listening to the sermon at the church because of obscene thoughts. He did not understand anything when he read the Bible. He could not even pray. He was frustrated, and he wondered what brought him into such misery. He genuinely prayed to God to set him free from the bad habit. Yet, he fell every time the obscene thoughts came in, even while praying. It was a misery to him why he could not gain control over his desire even though he prayed. One evening, he began to feel the wicked desire again. What should I do? No, I shouldn't. A controversy arose in his mind. No, no more. Just one more time and never again. This will be it. The two thoughts clashed hard. The desire urged him stronger to keep him from deciding to quit. It was a fierce war. He carefully thought about why he hadn't been able to walk out of the mire of desire. It was because he always had chosen to do it just one more time before quitting forever. Now was the time to make a firm resolution. He decided no and cried out, Jesus! Please help me, Jesus! Jesus! A thought flashed through his mind that he should not stay in bed. He got up and stormed out of the house. He repeatedly called upon Jesus with all his might. He struggled hard to keep those perverted thoughts away from him. He ran, walked, and ran again while calling upon Jesus. He set his mind not to live like this anymore and earnestly called upon Jesus. That is when a miracle happened. Like vanishing smoke in the blowing wind, the obscene desire died away. He finally walked out of the swamp of desire which had been dominating his life. It was a historical moment of being freed from the deep, dark prison. He experienced one of the most amazing miracles, winning the battle against the self. He had never expected this. Overwhelmed by thankfulness, he cried on the dark, empty street, God, thank you. Thank you for answering my prayer. Yet, he still felt uncertain. He was not confident enough to keep himself from falling ever again. He realized that there was something in him that was vulnerable to sexual desires. It was almost like a gasoline which is vulnerable to fire. He had to drive himself away from the fire. Corrupt desires came into his mind from watching and reading. He had to avoid the very first step into the danger. He had to stay away from reading, watching, or listening to anything that may bring back the impure thoughts to his mind. He knew he should not just let any and every thought come into his mind without discernment. He tried his best to keep his mind. He wished to have a clear mind and a pure spirit. Without hesitation, he got rid of all the novels from his bookshelf. He gave up on the computer in order to stay away from watching pornography, for he keenly understood now how hard and important it is to keep one's mind.